Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Let's Talk. We've got House Test, Ryan, and
Hello.
DJ H here. We're going to be talking about Nintendo Switch in today's episode, just before the reveal in 4 days' time. We're going to be talking about what we expect and what we want of the Nintendo Switch. So it looks like quite an interesting device. It's got quite a few differences in comparison to other platforms on the market. Um, what are your kind of thoughts on the Nintendo Switch of what we've seen so far, guys?
Well, the one thing that stands out right now is that they have the detachable Joy-Cons, as they called it. And I'm really interested to see if they can be added from other companies, from third-party companies, so they can be somewhat improved maybe in comfort levels. Because I think so far, the thing that we saw live on television doesn't look that it's that comfortable to hold. That's one thing that I had from the Nintendo 3DS, at least. It wasn't that nice for longer sessions.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture on Wikipedia at the moment. I'm noticing that on the left-hand joystick, the Joy-Con L, the buttons are below the actual joystick. But then on the other side, you've got the joystick at the bottom, the buttons above, and that doesn't look particularly ergonomic to me.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
one thing I agree with Half-Life Test with how it doesn't look very comfortable because it reminds me a lot of the Nintendo Wii U, and that wasn't particularly comfortable to use, and it was a bit awkward because um, you were supposed to be using it as a controller whilst using it as a screen, but with this kind of upgrade of it being more portable, I do kind of like it, but I do agree it does look a bit chunky and awkward to carry around or use. Hopefully, as you say, they will make a more ergonomic controller variant, hopefully.
yeah. I mean, it looks like there's quite a bit of customization. I've been having a look on the gallery right now, and they seem to be using the Joy Cons kind of like orientated differently. So you can have them like as a normal controller or upright and things like that attached to different size controllers as well. There's quite a lot of customization options actually because there's the Joy-Con grip which joins them together. You can have them slid onto the screen as well or completely detached. So it looks like there's quite a few customization options, but as you said, they don't look that comfortable. There have been a few third party saying that they're going to be working on some accessories for it, but the exact details of these third party accessories haven't really been detailed.
Something I've just seen in the gallery here, not third party from Nintendo itself, but there's a pro version of the controller which looks very similar to a standard console controller like the Xbox or PS4 ones.
Yeah, it
So
looks very similar to the Xbox One controller.
yeah, so I think if you do find the Joy Cons a bit unwieldy or they look a bit small if you're using one at a time, then I suppose you could use the Pro controller instead.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're probably not always taking the controller with you when you're flying somewhere or just in the park. I mean, there's so many funny things that we see in the reveal trailer. And that's why I hope that there's some third-party solution coming from the standpoint that the Joy-Cons can be made a little more comfortable, so I don't have to pack another controller in the bag with me while I just want to have the actual console with me in the first place.
Yeah. One thing that I've been having a look at this gallery at the moment, and I've actually noticed how portable it is. One of the screenshots actually shows two people in a car with the screen attached to the headrest, um, playing Mario Kart in a co-op mode. I didn't realize how portable it actually was. But one thing that I think Nintendo really needs to improve on compared to the Wii U is third party support. Nintendo's always been behind with third party support, and if this is going to be similar to the Wii U, where there aren't that many third party games, it's probably gonna fail again. Like, well, not fail, but it's probably not gonna do as well as it could do. A lot of developers have said, yeah, we're gonna support it, but then what games are actually in development and gonna be released at a third party?
One
I mean,
thing,
that's something that we can expect from Friday, right?
yeah.
Yeah, with the game reveal thing, yeah.
One of the things I saw though, because I'm looking at this screen grab right now, and it looks like they've got game cards that look very, very similar to the old Nintendo DS cartridges. Because they're like the little SD cards, and they look because it doesn't look like the new 3DS ones, but I'm wondering, would that allow us to use Nintendo DS games on this, or would it just be no, you can only use.
That's actually an interesting idea. They haven't mentioned anything, but that would make it very universal.
I think there was word out that they don't want to cut down the 3DS, so they want to keep it as an own mobile system, but also give out the Nintendo Switch as a portable and home console in one.
Some bad news. I'm looking at that screen grab you're talking about, Dan, and I can see that the game cards, as it's called, looks different from the DS ones.
All right, okay.
Yeah, because it looks like
I
it
know,
only has
I know
5 contacts, and they're much deeper than the ones on the DS cartridges.
Okay.
So unless maybe the port can take both types of cartridge, like a bit like on the DS Lite, you could plug in Game Boy cartridge as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
then
about to mention that as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be getting backwards compatibility of the DS.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. Hang on, is there a disc? No, there isn't. I was trying to see if there's a disk drive on the side on one of these promo images. But yeah, it would be pretty cool if we had backwards compatibility. They have done similar. I mean, they supported the Game Boy cartridges on the Nintendo 3DS Lite, and did they do it on the? No, they did it on the Nintendo DS Lite. I'm not sure if they did on the 3DS, but they went in on the bottom. So yeah,
I don't. I think with the 3DS that support ended sadly, but yeah, there are some things which I hope would come back, like for example supporting older types of games or just the mobile games. I mean, just imagine if you could take your Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is recently released, with you and also say, just put it on the screen. Doesn't have to look perfectly fine. Don't update it with some sort of interpolation to make it look good in 1080p, but just give me the thing on a big screen. I would be happy with that. But in order to do that, they need to support the cartridges, of course.
yeah.
Now,
Um,
I'm not sure if this has been mentioned or not, but have they talked about whether the screen is touchscreen friendly, or is it just a screen?
I think it was confirmed that it's touch,
Okay.
since the patent thing is out.
Okay.
yeah. I would be surprised if it wasn't with a screen of that size and a portable device. They wouldn't. I doubt that they would minimize it that much, but they might do.
I'm not 100% sure because none of the pictures I've seen show it being used as a touchscreen. And
Yeah.
on Wikipedia, under display, it just says LCD. It doesn't say anything about touchscreen. Another thing, going briefly back to the backwards compatibility, under the technical specifications section of Wikipedia, it's been confirmed that it will not be backwards compatible with 3DS or Wii U game media.
See,
Oh man.
Unless they
that's-
ran it through a digital store.
yeah. Oh, that is true.
Yeah, because it has Wi-Fi. That's
That
confirmed.
could work. So if they ran it through the Wii Store, there is a possibility that they could run games like the way that they've done with PlayStation 4 now, streaming games from PS3 onto PS4, and also things like backwards compatibility on Xbox One. That might work. Whether they do that, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know Nintendo's systems particularly well. I've not really used Nintendo stuff before.
Well, when they officially unveiled it back in October last year, they deliberately refused to list what kind of games are going to get. So I think hopefully that's something we'll see in a few days' time.
Yeah, they've got a specific Treehouse stream on the 13th. No, the 12th. Sorry. Of this
Depends
week.
where you live.
Yeah. They've got a stream for the games and a stream for the console as well, on their Nintendo Twitch channels.
So what kind of games do you think they're gonna go? Because obviously, like, they're gonna do a Mario Kart. They're gonna probably release another Mario type game. What other games?
They'll do all the Nintendo classics, Mario, maybe
Yeah,
a Zelda game of some kind.
I mean, we've seen already a Mario 3D game in the reveal trailer. Nobody knows anything about it. The level that we've seen was completely new, so I think there's something in that, of course. I mean, Mario's just the mascot that they need to sell us. And on the other side, of course, there's more Zelda stuff coming.
Although on the Nintendo website, the main promotional image, it shows the Switch with what looks like a Zelda game running.
Yeah, Legend of Zelda is confirmed to be coming to the Switch, and the only other game that's fully confirmed is actually Rhyme, which got re-announced this week due for a May launch. It was originally a PS4 exclusive and is now coming to PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and also the PC. So that's the only two games that we've got 100% confirmed. So far, as far as I can see here. Oh, actually, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Rhyme as well.
I think it's safe
to confirmed.
I think it's safe to assume that at least some form of Mario Kart will be released because it's in the screenshot where they're using it in the back.
Just call a Mario Kart Switch, put in like 10 from the old maps, do 2 more maps, and we're happy. I mean, come on. It's not that difficult anymore to do a good Mario Kart for us.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
Legend of Zelda, Mario Kart. There's also NBA 2K on there, and also what looks like a Mario action game. There are also quite a few things that were in that reveal trailer. There's quite a bit of controversy because they put games in there. For example, they had a segment with Skyrim on there. And what they actually said was when they recorded that was all put in post. So whether we actually do get Skyrim and all of these Mario games and things, we don't know.
Yeah.
The NBA 2K looks likely because 2K have announced support, but I haven't seen anything about Bethesda, so whether Skyrim's real, I don't know.
So, Bethesda was one of the original 48 confirmed game industry partners. However, they didn't say they'd necessarily be doing cross-platforming. So, Bethesda's already existing games like Skyrim or Fallout may not be coming to the Wii U, but they may develop a new game or port one of their older games.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if they don't. They've just re-released Skyrim on Xbox One, PS4, and redone it on PC. If they don't do it for the Switch, I'd be surprised. So what have we got at the moment? We've got 505 games, Activision, Altus, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Capcom, Codemasters, EA, From Software, Frozen Byte, Game Trust,
Square Enix, Ubisoft.
That is a big list.
Yeah, quite a few of these developers say they don't actually have any plans for developing stuff, but they are partnered with Nintendo and that they will do something.
Right.
Now, what's interesting on there is that Take-Two is mentioned. Take-Two run 2K games, and also Rockstar. Could Red Dead Redemption be coming to the Nintendo Switch?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it seems like it would be too heavy a game to run on something like that.
Well, I'm not sure because apparently it's running with the NVIDIA. I've forgotten its name now. Is it Tegra? Notegra, something like that. Tegra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's running with that chipset, and I can't really say how powerful it is, but it looks like it's going to be pretty power efficient because it's ARM based, and well, it is a 2009 chipset, but obviously this is a custom one, so it's probably going to be upgraded quite a bit. Apparently
I bet it's probably like usual. Nvidia has some extra stuff for Nintendo, and they're only in development for the Nintendo Switch right now, so giving more support than what we know as the public right now from what we've already seen happening with the Integra chip.
Yeah. It's also quite interesting that they've gone for NVIDIA GPU. All previous consoles have been AMD. And that includes consoles that have been announced in the past few days and things like that, including the the Xbox Scorpio presentation that they displayed at CS this week. The Nintendo Scorpio plans were on the AMD Ryzen stand.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite interesting that they've gone for a NVIDIA GPU because no other console manufacturers have ever used a NVIDIA GPU, at least in mainstream console gaming.
Yeah, but on the other side, what has AMD to offer for mobile gaming? You know? Couldn't tell you.
That's true. Well, no, they've got Snapdragon. Isn't that AMD?
You're saying that no other console, well, no mainstream console uses NVIDIA graphics. However, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but the Aware, it was that Steam box thing. Yeah, that one runs off Tegra graphics as well.
Yeah. There isn't Tegra isn't Tegra one of the GPUs that NVIDIA have been making for mobile devices for a while now?
Yeah, it looks like it started around 2008, so far as I can tell.
It's in their own NVIDIA Shield thing.
Yeah. And the NVIDIA Shield, if I remember correctly, was actually pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I've seen some Digital Foundry stuff just taking the Dolphin emulator, the mobile version, and putting it on the NVIDIA Shield to emulate some Mario Sunshine. And from that, they said it's quite possible, for example, to expect something like GameCube remasters for the Nintendo Switch. And, for example, GameCube wasn't that good as a console. Didn't have the best games, but still some old favorites, I think. And maybe we could just continue on with some more stuff with the one from Nintendo Switch. I, for example, would love to see Mario Kart Double Dash make a return to Nintendo Switch, because with the mobility of the Switch, this game could be awesome. Playing as two players on one kart was always something special. I liked it a lot.
That could be quite a good fun.
Yeah.
Especially with allowing... because what it looks like is you can connect to other users with the two-player support mode, so it could be quite fun to sit down with a few friends. Even if you've only got if only two people have it, you can get 4 players, which looks like it could be quite good for like large friend groups. Because then you can split up the cost and things like that. But it definitely looks like it would be very interesting to see if they would add games that are as you were just saying, that have 2 players availability for 2 players to play at the same time.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's going down its usual route of making multiplayer very easy. For example, with the Wii, I think, didn't the original Wii console actually ship with 2 controllers? And the idea was that you could play games with your family. It was something the whole family could get involved in. The DS, obviously, you've had multiplayer on nearly every DS. And then with the Nintendo Switch, it basically comes with 2 controllers because there's 2 Joy-Cons, which are detachable. So you can have 2 players using
and you don't need both to play every game.
Yeah. Talking of games that are already out that would be interesting to see come back in, I just found an article that says that Nintendo Switch is set to get a Pokemon Sun and Moon version specifically for it, with the code name of Pokemon Stars. So it looks like...
Yeah, right, I heard about that.
A Pokemon game to Nintendo Switch, which personally I really like, because I'd love to be able to put Pokemon up on the big screen. That'd be
yeah,
that would be nice.
Did they have console games for Pokemon on the Wii and the Wii U?
Not in the traditional sense, because most of the Pokemon games
have been mobile.
Yeah, no, well, all of the traditional Pokemon games have been in a mobile format on the DSs and Game Boy, but all of the like console versions that they've created have mainly been like party games or a specific version, like Mystery Dungeons, I believe, was one of them that they had.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't really. I think this would be the first time that they would have a quote unquote a proper Pokemon game on a console.
Yeah. I mean, also, if the current leaks information, I believe that was leaked the other day, we covered it in one of our Let's Talk daily episodes, the Nintendo Switch is due for a launch on the 16th of March. And also for £198, which in comparison to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 is cheaper.
And it's
So
super
It's
cheap.
not cheaper. It's ridiculous. I'm very hesitant about that price because that price just seems a bit too low for the kind of thing that they're advertising.
There was a pre-order page that went up on a UK retailer's website earlier on this week, and it. I'm trying to find the article again for you guys. Mass Effect not coming. Mass Effect isn't coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Makes sense.
That's something which is also.
I don't think
confirmed.
that games like Mass Effect would come to the Switch. Also, like, for example, Battlefield 1. I cannot see a Battlefield 1 type of game coming to Nintendo Switch because it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, Nintendo
know?
typically hasn't done shooters, or if they have done shooters, they've been more aimed at a younger audience.
The original Black Ops was on Nintendo Wii.
One that I really want to play, Splatoon.
Oh yeah, but again,
yeah.
that's their own IP.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
a lot.
the UK retailer GameSeek listed the Nintendo Switch console for a March 17th release, as well as putting the price at £198.50, which equates to $245. And that listing is still live and hasn't been taken down off the retailer's website, so it could be placeholder, it could be real. They have a money back guarantee thing and price guarantees, so if the price does go up and you've already pre-ordered it, they won't increase the price. They'll keep it at the price that you ordered it at.
How much is the Xbox One S right now?
225, I think.
Yeah, kind of that range.
Yeah, it's about the same range, but it was a lot more expensive when it launched. Like, it was almost
I think
double.
that price guarantee thing could go two ways. One, any shop that's pre-ordering with a price guarantee is going to make a loss, or it could kind of force Nintendo's hand, and they may have to sell it lower than they originally wanted to avoid
They
having
wouldn't.
everyone make huge losses.
See, I don't.
They wouldn't, because it's only one retailer which has put up
Only
that
one?
price
Oh, okay, I thought more
Yeah.
retailers would be doing that.
so far.
I know that game has a
I-
placeholder price of £1,000, so they're being very careful.
Yeah.
Well, £1,000 seems a bit ridiculous.
Oh, it's only
but,
a
like,
placeholder price. They're saying when it is released, because we can pretty much guarantee it's not going to be £1,000. That'd be ridiculous. So they're saying
Yeah.
when you pre-order, that's what will be on your bill, but then the actual price is going to be much lower than that.
I just searched for the Nintendo Switch and Red Dead Redemption 2 came up.
What I think might happen is they might, for the pricing. Personally, I see it as being around £250 to about £350. I don't see it being any more because it can't. In terms of usability, it could rival the PlayStation or the Xbox, but in terms of actually like games and content, I don't think it's going to be that close. So I don't see it being as expensive as like a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. But I do see it being a bit more expensive than about £200 or uh, what was it? Once. Yeah,
198, yeah.
198. Yeah, I think 200 is just a bit too low. 250 would be the lowest I could see it going, but if they really are pushing the 200, I would be very surprised, and I would not be surprised if the sales for that were immense, because I don't know anybody who wouldn't go £200
I mean,
for a decent console done.
it might actually force Sony and Microsoft, obviously depending on the specifications and the competition, but it might actually force Sony and Microsoft to lower the prices of their current consoles because both of them are selling just a bit over about 220-ish, and they've been out on the market for 3 years now. So it might force a bit more
Oh.
competition by them having to lower the prices of the other consoles, possibly. If they do come in at 198, they're going to be lower than the other consoles on the market, and it's going to be a newer device. But with it using a mobile graphics chip and the resolution being switching between 720p and 1080p, people may not necessarily go for it because the PlayStation 4 for £20 more can output at upscaled 4K.
Yeah. I call it right now. You know what I say? 199 US dollars in euro and whatever that is turning into UK pound. 170,
Yeah,
180.
it was
Don't know.
It was 198 pounds, 245 US dollars.
So I guess it's like if, 150 pounds if I keep my price that way. I could see that working out just to be attractive in that sense. On the other side, they really have to push more Nintendo specific stuff and also give us more developers from third party sites that say, we're also doing something for that, which you can see right here. It's working. We're not done with it, but it's at least a demo or something. This is something that I hope to see on Friday. And that would help me a lot to say, all right, you know what? If there's a pre-order page, I will go and pre-order it right now for that price. Doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. The Nintendo Wii U launched at 300 US dollars. And that's a pretty...
See, that personally, that seems like a more reasonable price.
Yeah, but then I suppose there are two ways of looking at it, isn't there? For a less powerful platform than the other consoles on the market, they would probably be wanting to go for something lower so that they can have the edge on the market. I mean, they dropped the Nintendo
But
Wii price pretty quickly once they saw the sales.
yeah,
Like, it was doing all right. It was doing 2-3 million sales per week for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then they just dropped, and hardly anybody's talks about it since.
the problem was with the Wii U, you barely had any third-party games coming out for that, and almost at the start already that this is not going anywhere. You just get the Nintendo console. The Wii U is just mostly Nintendo games, and the longer we moved on in time, we barely got any other games to see other than the classic Nintendo stuff. I mean, Nintendo did something good on the Wii U, and that was the Mario Party game with the support for 3DS also, and then of course Mario Maker, which was huge a success, I would say, but one single game in that category cannot sell the whole system. So again,
Yeah.
they need to do something for
I
the
mean,
party
what
sector.
they did with Splatoon and Mario Maker got units off the shelf, but not as many as they needed. Yeah, the Wii U. The thing with the Wii U though was a lot of studios said that they were going to support it, and then they dropped out because they saw the sales figures. I don't want it to repeat that, but it is possible. If the sales figures aren't good for the Switch, and they don't have decent games at launch, etc., and the sales aren't as good as other publishers were expecting, they'll just drop support. Ubisoft slated quite a lot of support, Activision the same, and I think we saw 2 or 3 titles from Ubisoft including Zombie U, which was a Wii U exclusive, and then nobody bought it, and then they ported it over to other platforms.
But even then, once they ported it over, it wasn't that strong of a game.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was
it was.
alright.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it wasn't as strong as it should have been if they were going for an exclusive. Because with an exclusive, you want something that people are definitely going to want to play. But something like Zombie U it was okay, but it was just kind of and I think a lot of people realise that. But hopefully, when they announce the games for Switch, there's going to be some very interesting titles, some possibly a lot of titles that will get people hyped. Because definitely, another Mario would sell, the Pokemon Stars would sell, and definitely the new Legend of Zelda game. But it's all about what games do you have, what are you going to wow us with, and yeah, that will determine how the console does. What are you going to wow us with, Nintendo? Give us your best shot.
I mean, looking at the Wii U launch titles, you can actually see there was a lot of third-party content in it. We had Black Ops 2, we had Darksiders 2, Disney's Epic Mickey, alright, Assassin's Creed 3 and all that, and the classics NBA 2K13, we had FIFA 13, Sing Party and all that. But the thing that I remember the Wii U as was just Zombie U, and nobody knew what Zombie U was unless you played it yourself. And I thought instantly, well, that's a zombie game. I don't care.
I mean, I played it at Gadget Show Live. I went and played it, and it used the Wii U gamepad quite well, but then it just didn't. It was the only kind of like unique title to the platform. If you ever look at all the others, apart from the Nintendo exclusives, of course, but like all of the other ones are kind of like across all platforms. Like you got Wipeout on other platforms. You got the Just Dance, Mass Effects, NFL, etc. on all of the other platforms, and also that was pretty much all of the third-party support. It came out at launch and then just died pretty much straight away, which is a shame, but we'll see what happens with the Switch.
I think launch titles with the Wii U, again, were not a problem. The only thing that the Wii U hasn't going for it was, why is it different to the Wii? Because it just says a Wii U after that, and it sounds like what we already have right now in the next generation of PS4, PS4 Pro. With the Pro, you could think, alright, I could do with the normal version, but the Pro is something for enthusiasts, which it kinda is, but at least you know, okay, the Pro thing is something better than we already have with the Wii U and the Wii. I don't know what I got from that. So with the Switch, first off, cool new name, Switch, goes right off the bat, and we already seen it in action at multiple possibilities, so we know it's portable. That's the big thing going for it, and I hope that going on from that, there's something I would love to see, which is just a basic browser for that. You know, it doesn't have to support like LTE or anything, just that it has some sort of Wi-Fi that I could tap on my phone to, so I can just I don't know, scroll through Twitter on my Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Basic functionality that I would expect from the tablet, you know.
I have an idea. What if they had Pokemon Go on there? That would be cool. Pokemon Go on the Nintendo Switch.
I think we already had that. Yeah, but that would require network functionality on its own and geolocation.
You can tether, or it could possibly... yeah, I suppose, it might not work. Unless you could download areas or something, I don't know. I've not played Pokemon Go for a while, but it would be pretty cool if you did have it as a free app or something, I don't know.
Then it would be fine, I guess.
It'd be interesting.
We have to see how they approach it. Alright, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Go on.
I was just going to say, the only thing that I could see as a bit of an aversion to that would be you get to your favourite Pokemon Go site, and instead of pulling out your phone, you pull out this massive tablet-sized gaming console, and then just some dude comes over, runs up to you, grabs it, and runs off. That's the only downside I could see to use it to having Pokemon Go like that, because I don't really. I personally I wouldn't be pulling out my Nintendo Switch in public, but that's just personal preference, really. It could work.
The screen doesn't look too big.
Yeah, I'm not saying the screen's massive. It's just like anything bigger than like a Kindle, you don't really want to just pull out, because like, yeah, exactly. It's just too big, and too, because like people go crazy and have like iPads and stuff at festivals and things like that to record, and that's okay because it's just slightly too big, but it's not ridiculous. But but something like, I don't know, I wouldn't pull out a Surface or a Surface at just anywhere. You'd want.
Yeah. I mean, who really does that
Yeah.
in the public, like outside? I mean, if you could probably say, I go into Starbucks, I already have my MacBook with me, why not play some games on Nintendo Switch? Or, for example, which I would use on the train. I have a 1-hour train ride to work, so that's lots of playtime that I could get from Nintendo
And that'd be
Switch.
fine.
But other than that,
So yeah, I love the portability. That's one thing I think Nintendo has always been the kind of the video game king of, is portable small
definitely.
machines that you can take anywhere. And it's always been about communicating with other people and sharing Pokemon and trading with your friends and all of that. And I definitely think sticking with the portability route is definitely one of Nintendo's best and strong points, and I'm really glad that they've kept to that. They didn't just go, oh, we're just going to build another chunky console and try and compete with Microsoft and Sony, because yeah, they can compete with Microsoft and Sony, but the Nintendo DS stands on its own and nothing else really, because like the PSP tries to stand up to it, but when you think of portable gaming devices, Nintendo just springs to mind.
Yeah, it tends to be.
I mean, that's only us, because in Japan, the PSP is huge. The PS Vita it is now, right? The Vita's a new one?
Yeah, PS Vita is the latest one. Although the PlayStation Portable used to do quite well. When they went over to the Vita, it kind of plummeted, very much like the Nintendo 3DS plummeted. Only the strong, avid supporters of that platform as such with exclusives got it. Part of the problem with the PlayStation Portable and the Nintendo DS, etc., is the rise of mobile gaming on your typical phone, because so many people can just get free games on that and just play them wherever they are. And then you've also got things like the Nvidia Shield, where you can stream AAA games onto your device. So it will be interesting to see how people use the Switch as well. Will they use it as a home console or portable? That's another thing that, I mean, for me, it looks good if I'm like on a train or a plane and things like that. But actually using it at home and when walking down the street and in the park, like they've shown in the images, and in the car as well, I probably wouldn't do it.
See, that's where I'd kind of change it a bit and say, for something like the car, as they've shown, it would be perfectly fine. But then I do agree with walking outside in the park or down the street. It's just a bit too big, as I've said. But I do think that it can stand up in its own right. So I think it's definitely more of like the person who gets around a lot more, like they've tried to do, like they've advertised with their other like DSs and their 2DS, etc. So it's really for somebody who gets around, like you said, Half-Life with on the train. You got an hour train journey. That's something that they're trying to cater to. They're trying to cater to the people who have like nothing to do for an hour, who like playing video games. So yeah, it's and also it would be for somebody like a parent, but when you go to get a car for your kids, one of the big advertisements for cars that had built-in TVs, which were very expensive, which are very expensive, that kind of negates it. So now you can buy a car for the functionality and price that you want to, and if your kids want to play on the go, buy a Nintendo Switch. Not going to be that expensive. Problem solved.
Yeah.
At least you know it's not just a TV. You can actually do some fun games on it. We talked about something that was quite interesting. We just moved on too quickly, I think. Nintendo is not alone on the market. They always have to focus on the other big players, at least with Xbox and the PlayStation at hand. So I'll already admired the first step that said, we're not going to do another console for your home, another thing that's next to your TV that you won't really use besides for the actual gaming stuff. So they actually can pull that off, I think, if they just have a reasonable price that we discussed earlier on, and just go and really own that they are also portable, and that's really something unique only to them. If they can market that right, which I think they do right now really well, without any talking so far, I still see a huge point where they can actually be successful with.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see how things develop. I mean, another thing that might affect the sales of the Switch is the launch period being March. There are two ways of looking at it. In recent years, we've had more and more games released around this time of year for games that have been through troubled development, or it's been too crowded around Christmas for the releases. But for
Yeah.
consoles, you would expect them to launch around Christmas. It's a perfect Christmas gift, having a new console, and with the Scorpio launching at the end of the year, it may be a wise idea for them to be launching the Switch in March. But then it may be a bad idea because you're not going to be getting that Christmas rush of sales. But then would you have got as many sales because of the Scorpio, which will be having 4K gaming native, unlike the PS4 Pro, which launched last year?
See, here's where I think that they're going to do kind of like a sneaky marketing tactic. Like they released the Switch now, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Switch, let's buy one." So they buy it. It's really cheap. Everyone's happy. Scorpio comes out. All the Xbox guys get really obsessed with buying one of those around late this year, Christmas time, and then around that late Christmas time, Nintendo go, "Oh, by the way, we've got a bunch of cool accessories that you can buy," and then stocking stuffers, or well, not stocking stuffers because they'll probably be a bit expensive, but something like £20-30 for a extra add-on that will go onto your Switch. People would definitely get something like that for Christmas, and then then they would get that along with a Scorpio if they were planning to do that. So it's release the console now, then you've got the availability for users when they see like the next big console. They're not worried about, oh, which one should I get? They just go, okay, I'll buy this new console and the extra things that I can get for my current one.
Yeah. You know what I love to see from Nintendo also? I'm not sure how far they've talked about it, but indie game titles can really make a difference on many occasions. And I think with the PlayStation 4 at least, I had some cool games on there, which are definitely giving it more charm to the catalog of games. And I hope that Nintendo Switch will be easy to use. I mean, we already know that there's Unreal Engine 4 support for that, and that a lot of people will also come and say, you know what, the portability is something interesting that could really make a difference for my game instead of bringing it to PlayStation or Xbox first. So I hope Nintendo does something in that
I mean, they've
direction
got
too.
support from the major free engines, which are Unreal and Unity, and then with EA putting support, etc., meaning that Frostbite will have support. There's quite a lot of support for indie developers and AAA developers, so it'll be interesting to see I suppose it depends on architecture as well, with languages that it uses and things like that,
Right.
and storage, etc. Because with the games being stored on SD cards, how big are they going to be? What AAAs are we going to get? Or are we not going to get many AAAs? Because SD card of that size probably wouldn't hold a AAA game. I don't know what kind of storage they would have in a kind of card of that
Yeah.
size.
Would you guys think that they would do something along the lines like Microsoft have done with the Xbox One games? So you buy the disc, and then you put in you put in the cartridge in this case, and then it would download most of the information off the internet, because then you'd be able to have bigger games, but any games you wanted that were that would release in physical formats they'd be able to accommodate for that by just adding some essential content, and then
It's possible.
I mean, I would love to play more Darth Vader minigame while I wait for Battlefront 2 to download on my Nintendo Switch. I mean, surely that is attractive. And one thing about SD cards and the sizes, I've seen here different offers. Just looking around, SD card, 32 gigabyte, priced around €10. So doesn't seem to be unreasonable that they're actually having a format for their cards that can hold a lot of data.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I suppose the way that I was looking at it was the way that with other mobile platforms, you never really have any AAA major titles on there, even if they do have enough storage. I mean, with the
Maybe it's just the impression that we have from the 3DS.
with PSP and the 3DS and the DS, the only AAA titles as such were ones coming from first-party developers. You weren't getting any major ones that were AAA, but then, as this is a home console and a portable console, it may be different.
yeah, I think it might be different because, as you said, House Test, our perception of what portable consoles can do is kind of warped by the DS and the Vita and the PSP. So we don't really know what they can get away with, because what I was mainly impressed by when they announced that Scorpio was going to be, what did they say, like 40% smaller and still pack... Sorry, no, the Xbox One S was 40% smaller and can still pack a more powerful punch.
Yeah,
if they can do, if Microsoft can do that, what can Nintendo do with this Nintendo Switch? If Microsoft can get a ridiculous amount of processing power and gaming capability into a much smaller machine, can Nintendo do the same thing with a portable device? So,
but then the Xbox One originally was gigantic. That's one thing that you do have to bear in mind. Like the Xbox 360 and the PS4 are at launch were considerably smaller than the Xbox One. So Microsoft really had to make it smaller. They made it 60% smaller, not 40%.
But with those consoles, they're not really thinking about size as a massive factor, because as long as it's about the same size as a small computer, problem solved. But with something like the Nintendo Switch, you've got to think about portability and the weight of it and everything. So they would be looking for more processing heavy and kind of ability heavy hardware for it. So I'm just wondering what kind of interesting hardware they've put inside it to allow it to be as good as it is advertised to be.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see what does happen with the press conferences that they've got this week. Both of the press conferences on both days, I think it's the 12th and the 13th, are going to be live streamed on Twitch/Nintendo and also on YouTube/Nintendo. There's going to be loads of content on our channel over the next week about the Nintendo Switch, with all of the coverage about the games, possibly a few special episodes here or there, similar to this one, with the other guys from Gaming Masters talking about what we think about the games that have been revealed and all of the other bits and bobs that we've got to cover for you guys about the Nintendo Switch. So that'll be pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure what times those are in the UK. I think that they're in the evening in Japan. So I
think 5 a.m.
yeah, I
in the
think it was
morning
about
for
5 a.m.
GMT.
Yeah. So we'll be covering them in the evening, a few hours after they've been announced. But we'll make sure to cover as much as we can on the channel. We'll try and get some discussions up and running about it. Let us know in the comment section down below with your opinions on the Nintendo Switch about what we know so far. We'll be looking forward to reading your opinions. Let us know on Twitter at OfficialGMYT and also on our Discord server, which will be linked down below in the description. And also, if you want to, you can support us on Patreon. A link to that will be down below in the description as well. It's not compulsory, but it will be greatly appreciated if you can help us out.
Also,
on
guys,
that.
check out House Tests. It's been great to have him today. So yeah, check him out. What's your handles and all that?
Yeah, handle is everywhere the same, HAU5 test. Just say it like House Test and I'm happy. And just Google me, you will find me anywhere.
House Test has got loads and loads of high quality reviews on his YouTube channel as well that you should definitely check out. Some really good content on there. So do check House Test out as well. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow for another episode of Let's Talk Daily.